Hi and welcome everyone. I am the Hobo Prepper and this is Friar Tuck. Sorry about the delay here, guys. I have been having problems, so let me delete that. Okay. And okay. Living the dream. Okay, let me make sure that I have. Okay. Alright. So delete that forever. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. For some reason I am having some issues with my streaming software trying to connect to YouTube. The original one that I had was not working properly. So I had to go in there and recreate it. So what we're going to be talking about today is, if you are a prepper, or if you're just somebody who knows that it's about time and you may end up becoming homeless, let's list all the different reasons why you would become homeless. So I started talking I started watching a video on YouTube from Economic Ninja. And he was talking about how the mortgage rate is, if it's like 7.6% if you want to buy a house, but if you want to refinance your mortgage, it's 7.75%. And that is, hey, it looks like I got somebody in here. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know how the audio is. I am in a new setup. I am actually doing one of these pods here in the library. So the cool thing about this library here is that they have soundproof pods, so that means I don't have to worry about all the background noise and all that stuff, and plus they've got good internet connection here. So as long as I race up the stairs and become one of the first ones here, hi Jessica, guest, nice to see you here. As long as I race up the stairs and get in one of these booths, because they're free and it's first come first serve, then I get to do my live stream in peace and quiet without having to worry about all that other stuff. But getting back to the article about Economic Ninja, he was talking about how interest rates are going up, and then not only that, we're seeing the housing market crash. There are some other things that are going on. Let's see, what else? I was watching Pinball Prepper this morning as well, and he's talking about how everybody, with everything that's going on between with the rising rent prices. So a fact that you really need to be aware of, because it's going to affect you, because every time rent goes up $100, it increases homelessness by 9%. So if you have 100 people that are homeless, and now rent goes up $100, now you have 109 people. And then you have 120 people, and it just keeps going up and up and up and up as they keep raising rent. Also, one of the interesting things, I can't remember which channel I watched on, it was either Canadian Prepper or Economic Ninja. There are 41 countries joining the BRICS, and what's really what you should really be looking at here with the BRICS nations is that there's even like the Asian Union and a lot of other kind of like interest groups that are applying to be BRICS, to be a part of BRICS. And he was talking about in this article that there was a plan where a lot of these countries, that if they would band together, that they could destroy the US dollar because it was keeping them poor, while America was getting fat, happy, and rich. And so with this 41 nations looking to join BRICS, you're getting close to almost a third of the world, if not more, is under the whole the BRICS agreement, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And so this may mean the collapse of the dollar. And so what does this mean here in the States? Because you have all these foreigners that hold our dollar, and the only thing that they can really do is in order to hedge against the looming collapse, because there are numerous countries, especially in Africa and Asia, that are telling their people, go ahead, dump the dollar. The dollar's no longer good, because a play is being made on the American dollar to decouple it from the world reserve currency, which means we'll go into BRICS. But it's going to take 10 to 20 years before we see the full-on effects of what having some sort of commodity or resource backing your currency. But the United States has always had a resource backing the currency. It's called you and me. Our production, our labor, our commercial activity can be leveraged, and so therefore it plays into the overall wealth of the nation. But you have at least a third of the world now that is joining the BRICS organization, which is they're using gold and silver and other commodities and resources to be able to back their currency, and that's just kind of going to be the way that things are. I don't really know how else to explain it. So with the dollar going down and nobody really wanting to hold it, that means all these dollars are coming home to roost. And so with all these dollars coming home to roost, that means that we're going to start seeing inflation, possibly even hyperinflation. Now, if you watched one of my videos earlier this week, because I know I had a couple of them take off, if you have something go up by $5 and then goes down by $3, did you really save any money, or is it just cheaper than it was yesterday? So there are a lot of things, and the prices are never going to go back down. Not only that, we have other nations such as Saudi Arabia with oil. They are cutting back production, and if I remember the article right, they are also looking at possibly even they're looking at not even selling to the United States. Russia, through all these sanctions, is actually making they're making a play for everything. They're making more money now than they did under the sanctions. And if you follow the predictions of Billy Meyer, he talks about a whole global economic collapse, and he says once the collapse happens, it'll drop, and then from there it'll get back up to where it was, but it'll never exceed the level of production that we once had. And so we're going to be seeing this happen as time goes forward, because we're at the very beginning of this. So what are you doing to be prepared for this? How are you planning on living? And how do you plan to survive? This is a good question that everybody should be asking themselves. Look at what it is that you have in front of you. Everybody has a different, unique situation. Some people have money stashed aside. Some people don't. Do you spend your money, or do you hold on to it? Because when the inevitable crash comes, you're going to have to trade in your U.S. dollars for whether it be CBDC or whether it be another currency like the Amero or things like that. So you'll have these other currencies that you'll have to trade into, which is what a lot of these foreigners are doing, is they're coming in here and they're buying up every single asset that is available. And you still have people that in certain areas that are overbidding on asking price for house, because they need to put their money somewhere. Holding on to cash is probably going to be one of the worst things for an individual to do. And it is what it is. I don't know how else to explain it, but it is what it is. And so with that being said, what is going to happen to you as an individual? How are you going to weather this? What is it that you're going to do to prepare for this? And I would love to hear some of your comments of what you're doing to prepare for the impending economic collapse. Are you buying gold and silver? And will you be able to exchange that gold and silver? Because it's going to be several months before a new currency comes out. It's not like they're going to say, oh, today we have no dollar and go ahead and go over here to the CBDC. No, we may be without a currency for a while, so we may need to trade in commodities. Do you have if you are holding on to gold, do you have small enough pieces to be able to go and get your daily bread and to get the things that you need to be able to get? So this is where I come in and I talk about migration. So earlier this week I talked about migration and how to That's one good thing to do, okay? Foraging and hunting. If you know your plants, you're way ahead of everybody else. But you also got to realize if everybody else comes out and forages and hunts, how are you going to survive? There may be that time. That is something that if you follow Billy Meyer like I do, that is one thing that he talks about, is that we're going to end up going into the forest and we're going to end up killing off all the beasts, or most of the beasts. And right now, if you look, one of the things that I most recently read is that animals will start attacking, including sea creatures, will start attacking humans. If you haven't noticed, all over the news lately, there have been quite a few attacks from animals to humans, such as the lady that was attacked by a hawk and a snake. The hawk dropped the snake and then attacked the lady trying to get the snake, I think. You got to go read the actual article. So, let's just say that you, like most Americans, you're indebted because you're being the perfect consumer. You're going out there, you're racking up debt, you got a good job, you think your job's going to stay. You really weren't planning on, inflation. You really weren't planning on a collapse of the currency. And you were expecting to be able to keep your house, but yet more and more of these insurance companies are going out of business, causing people to lose their homes through no fault of their own, but just because they can't get mortgage insurance anymore. Or their variable loan went up so high that they can't even make it. It's cheaper to go out and rent an apartment than it is to buy a house because interest rates are so high. But I've also seen in the comments over the months is that there are people that have jobs, but they just can't afford their rent, so they got to go sleep outside. I remember one kid talking about going and being in the Las Vegas tunnels, and that's one of the last places you ever want to go. That's where you go when all hope is lost. So how are you, again, I keep asking the same question because I'm hoping to hear something in the comments from you guys, just like what you think and what it is that you guys are planning on doing. So, preparing to be homeless. How are you going to prepare? Well, if you have money, right now, what I would be looking at is I would be looking at gear. Okay, if you think that by the end of the fall and beginning of winter that you may end up being outside, some basic things that you can do to prepare for all of this is to want to look at gear. Now, you don't want to go out there and get the most expensive gear because even though it's light and it's expensive, that means other people are going to see it and they're going to want it. You're going to want to go for middle of the road. You're going to look at the area in which you live in. There are 3 specific things that you need to be able to survive a winter, just your basics before you start getting anything else, because you need to sleep. As a human, if you don't sleep, you're gonna have it's gonna really mess with your head. It's gonna screw up your brain chemistry, but most will die in the cities trying to get out. Maybe not. It just depends upon the regions, Chica. Let's see, hopefully not, but private property in the woods is ideal. Yeah, if you can afford it, but right now the way that the banks are is you have to have cash in order to be able to buy property without a dwelling on it. In a lot of ways, the banks are trying to make it harder for you to be able to do something like that. But the 3 most important pieces of gear that you need to have is you need to have at least a 65 liter to a 90 liter backpack. I like Teton. The reason why I like Teton is because they are based out of Colorado. It is an American company. If I can, I want to be able to keep the money inside America as much as possible. Okay, so I like Teton. The other one that you can go for is, I forget their name. I'll remember it here shortly, but they're one of the top of the line bags. You're going to pay about $300 for the same bag that you can get for about half price through Teton. Okay, so I mean, if you want to go for a higher end bag, go for a higher end bag, but you got to realize that this is going to break down over time. if you are able to save as much money as possible for just your basic ins and outs. So that's going to be the first piece of gear you're going to want, is a 65 to a 90 liter backpack. The next thing that you're going to want is you're going to want a foam sleeping pad, a self-insulated sleeping pad that has an R5 or above. You want to get to for about $45, you can go through, if you go to some of my older videos where I was out on bike and when I was out on trail, I have the affiliate links for that stuff, but I think it was like Pad Doctor or something like that I had, and that kept me warm all the way down to about 20-degree temperatures. Now that's going to add about another 10 degrees. Now you're going to really want to make sure that when you get your gear, if you are planning and preparing to be homeless, that it works in tandem. Your sleeping pad is going to work in place of cardboard box, one. But two, in order for your sleeping bag to meet its rating, you also should have a sleeping pad underneath you. That's part of their rating system. So when they say 20 degrees, and it is 20 degrees, what do you call it? 20 degrees to where anything below 20 degrees is fatal. Well, part of that is the 10 degrees that's added by your sleeping pad. So that was part of how I geared up last winter down in Florida. Now we got down to like the teens, but that was about as cold as we got. And here I'm expecting to get into the negative temperatures, anywhere from -5 to -20. So once it gets down to about zero, hey Cherokee, how are you? Bivy bag is most okay. Yeah, a bivy bag. That's one thing that you could use. Is a bivy bag that will also add 10 degrees on top of a sleeping pad. And the nice thing about a bivy bag is if you have to sleep in a city, you're not putting a tent up. If you're doing something that's more like a mummy bag. Now there are some of them that look like tents, and the police will come with a knife and they will cut it open. They will tear it down because they don't want any tent camping. Okay, so that's part of the reason why I really didn't say much about a bivy bag. But actually, Gore-Tex isn't nearly as expensive as you would think. I mean, when you're looking at quality, I've seen $800 sleeping bags and $1,000 tents. So when you look at a couple $100 for a Gore-Tex bivy bag, it's really not that much in the grand scheme of things. Okay, so with that being said, I will go with the Teton 0-degree sleeping bag. Hi Ricky, how are you? Walking the trails in Florida, stealth camping. Oh yes. You know what, Ricky? That is actually a really good idea. That's what I did when I first started out. The Florida trail was one of my favorite out of the 3 trails that I did. So, okay. So it's best budget blade. OKC is out of business. So, okay. Okay. Well, things cost. Snarfino. Things do cost, and it's the way it is. But I'm going with I'm going to end up getting a Teton 0-degree sleeping bag, but I'm also going to get a sleeping bag liner in it, or at least buy one that's separately. Part of the reason why you want a sleeping bag liner is, okay, so you're down to survival at 0 degrees. Okay, so once it drops below 0, then you're going to have an issue. But you also have the 10 degrees added from your sleeping pad, so that offsets it so that you can get the full effect of the 0. Now, if you add a sleeping bag liner, you're going to get about another 10 degrees on top of that. So that is just your sleeping gear. Now, everybody has different things. I don't like wearing hats, but if I got to wear a hat, I got to wear a hat. Gloves, they suck, but you might want to get yourself a good pair of gloves. I like to wear long johns underneath my pants. That keeps me warm if I need to be extra warm. Another thing, so if you're planning on being homeless and you know that it might happen, now's the time to start getting your ducks in a row. I knew that I was going to be out here. That's part of the reason why I did the preparations I did. And it lasted me for as long as I needed it to last me. But for me as an individual, I was able to plan for it because I knew it was coming. If you plan for it like you know it's coming, it will be a lot easier. You'll have a lot of things. But I will tell you, you'll have this habit. You always want to get more gear. And instead of walking out with $1,000 in my pocket, I ended up spending it all on extra gear that I thought I would need that I never ended up needing. Okay, so you're going to, when you set up this 65 to 90 liter backpack, you're going to want your sleeping bag. You're going to want your sleeping pad. Okay, now if you're in the city and you don't plan on going outside of the city unless you want to be able to sit there and make your own meals, and you've got food stamps, which is a good thing, so therefore you can sit there, you can cook, but you've got the extra weight of the butane because you're gonna have to use that in a city. Now I will tell you that a lot of these places within the city, it will pantyhose for ticks. Yeah, that does work. But with the butane, or even doing a little cook pot, there are a lot of places that will come and tell you, no, you don't need to be doing that, so you probably shouldn't be doing that. Okay, so that's one thing. I have to rely on the food lines, and I have to rely on food stamps to offset what I can't get through the food lines. But here in Cincinnati, the food lines are pretty good. Most places, they're starving. They went from having an abundance of food to stretching it out to having to run the population out because they're just getting too big. Okay, so in a water filter, you're not going to need that unless you plan on getting on the road. Now, I recommend, and this is just me, if you're having to sleep in a city versus sleeping outside, sleeping in the forest, you just sleep where you want. It's nice, it's peaceful. I always like to make sure, like, my favorite spots were sleeping next to waterfalls and streams, because I would fall asleep to that, and then I would wake up listening to the birds. It was so nice. I really, really miss it. But if you're sleeping in a city, you should probably have about 4 or 5 different spots that you can stay at. So you'll start off with one spot, and you'll be like, okay, I like this spot, but then it'll get overcrowded, something will happen, whatever. That will cause you to want to go find another spot, and then what you do is you just keep moving to a different spot till you get about 3 or 4, maybe 5 of them, and then you do a rotation. Sleep in one for a little while, sleep in another one for a little while, and just keep migrating. This will keep you off the radar, not of only the police, but it will play into your safety because you're not always in the same place. Yeah, they did. They did, Cherokee. They did that in Gainesville. It's their job. They don't care because they justify it by it's their job. They don't have to think about the humaneness of what it is that they're actually doing. Okay, so that's one piece. So getting your clothes together. One of the things, depending upon what things that your cities have. And before I get into that, hey, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, leave me a subscription. If you'd like to leave me a tip in the tip jar, it's down in the description, or you can leave me a super chat. Either way works. Anyways, just getting back on topic. If you're in a city, you need to find places to do laundry. One thing that I've always heard about colder climates, like people that have been in Minnesota and stuff like that during the snowstorm, is that if you end up panhandling, so if you get desperate and you need resources and stuff like that, you can panhandle in the cold and have much better luck than you do in the heat or better weather, because I don't know, it's just the human psychology of it. We'll just leave it at that. But anyways, do you guys have any questions? This is for you guys to ask me any questions that you have, anything that you want to know about me, the channel, my travels, what do I suggest in this situation, things like that. If you guys have questions, because in a lot of ways I thought, I'm a prepper because I've kind of had that mindset, but I think that there are different ways to be preppers. How do you not get robbed on the road as a homeless? One, keep moving. The longer you keep moving. Also, as you see, so let me see if I can get this here in the camera. So let me pull my water out. But okay, so I have a laptop in my bag, right? And my laptop goes in here. But to kind of camouflage it, I have my bedroll tied to this. People see the bedroll and see me walking around with a full backpack. What they think is that, you know, I'm a homeless person with not very much. It's all about how you make things look. Okay. You know, you gotta. I get to watch the replay because there's a delay here, but it's all about making sure that you camouflage your bag. That you, so my laptop, I cover it in this. So we went to the maker's room and we covered it, and so I put my stuff in these little pouches so that if somebody gets in my bag, they're not able to see it. You know, things like that is going to do it. Also, you know, a lot of people look at me and go, "Oh, you're new homeless," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not really new homeless. I just Chattanooga had great clothes, and so you know, if I'm gonna be homeless, it doesn't mean I need to wallow in the woods. But you do need to kind of blend in. The more that you blend in with them, the less they're looking at you to rob you and take from you, because homeless are robbing homeless, and they constantly have been doing this for quite a few years, and it gets worse every year. Okay, and it's really sad, but you only get robbed if you flash your stuff. So, like, when I pull my laptop out, I go into nicer places or places where the homeless don't congregate. And again, I sleep in different spots in different places. Let's see here. You know, it's all about camouflaging. Items they think an easy grab. No, well, when I sleep on my bag. I put. So let me show you here again. There's the mic. So when I sleep, my bag is like this, and I sleep right here. That way, if somebody comes and gets on my bag, if they move my bag, I'll notice it. You keep your stuff close. You kind of, in a way, you got to set your own subconscious booby traps. You know, it's because the harder you make it for them, because they're looking at it and they're doing a cost-benefit analysis. If I wake up, is this guy going to fight me? Does he look like he's got the strength to fight me? And does this guy, you know, look like he's, you know, what are my chances of getting away with this? I'll give you a perfect example. So last night, I'm at my spot, and I haven't moved to my second spot yet. I'm still kind of hemming and hawing about it. But this girl comes up, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to mess with the homeless." Well, you know, because she's so used to having them whine and bitch and yell and scream at her, she comes up and she does this twerking dance and then spits. And I'm like, "You're gross." And she did not like that. And she's like, "Well, what if I spit on you?" I said, "Well, that's assault. And at this point in time, if you spit on me, then whatever I do in self-defense will be perfectly legal. So would you like to commit assault?" And she just giggles and walks off because she's like, she knew she got had. There was something, she couldn't do anything about it. I mean, that's pretty much what happened there. I don't know what else to say other than, yeah, I own that girl, and she did not like it. I put her in her place not once but twice. And I was very proud of myself. I went to bed with a smile on my face last night because of that. But as far as keeping your gear and stuff like that safe, it's all about how you do your setup. That's why I'm in an alcove, because I want to have, it's just like if you watch the video on what was it, siege tactics. You want to get yourself into a place where you have the full line of sight and there's very little escape, not only for you but for the other person as well, because you're going to want to come in there and you're going to want to make sure. Okay, so for example, if I'm in an alcove, okay, so I'm in an alcove but I'm sleeping right here. How hard is it going to be for somebody to get into that little alcove? Okay. Do you keep shoes on while sleeping? No, you should not keep your shoes on while sleeping. You know, if your shoes stink, nobody will mess with them, one. But you should always air out your feet. This was the biggest mistake I made in Houston. I went 10 days sleeping in a field, couldn't change my clothes, couldn't take a shower, you know, didn't even take off my socks. And I now have what is called jungle rot. It's trench foot. Okay, if you've ever heard of it from the military, for you military guys, you know what I'm talking about. There's no cure for it. It's not contagious or anything else like that. But if you do not air out your feet and you do not give your feet a little bit of air every day for a couple of hours. Now, another thing that you want to do that's a home remedy if you're really into your own foot care is in the mornings, go barefoot and use and just kind of wipe your feet along the grass. The little blades act as floss in between your toes, and so therefore it catches all that fungus and all that stuff that's in there, so it kind of helps keep your feet clean, and it deoxidizes them as well. So that's a little trick that I learned from somebody not too long ago. But yeah, that as far as shoes. Any other questions? Hold on, let me grab a drink of water here. This has been one of the more eventful live streams I've had in a while. And hey, if you haven't hit the like button, make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you leave a subscription. If you'd like to leave a tip in the tip jar, it's down in the description, or you can leave a super chat. And so, talking about something that actually happened this week for me so here's how I make my money. And these are different things for you as an individual to figure out, because when you're in a city, you need to figure out a hustle. Yeah, you need to figure out a way to make money. That doesn't mean go out and panhandle. If you need some startup capital, go and panhandle, but don't look at that as like an end-all be-all. One, you won't really make much unless you've been in the spot for years. But here's an example. When I was in Portland, I had a guy, he's like, yeah, go get rocks, go get seashells. So I went down to the dollar store. I got some polished rocks, and I got some seashells. Oh, thank you, Mr. Natural Human. My grandfather used to say taking care of your feet is the most important thing to do after serving in the military. Yes, it is. Without your feet, you can't move anywhere. I totally agree with you, Natural Human. So let me give you a... There you go. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Okay, so when I was... He said, go get the rocks, go get the seashells, put a blanket out, and sit along the waterfront, and as people are going by, just offer them for donations. And you paid $1 for them, so whatever you make over $1 is profit. And I'd make $10, $15 a day doing that. And people would give me anywhere from 50 cents to $2 because I let them choose what they were going to give. And the thing is people used to be fair. I don't know how fair they are right now. Okay. That's why we're like Gore-Tex. You can wear boots all day or in the water and boots. Okay, I'm gonna have to double check into all that. So and I'm gonna tell you guys about some medical stuff that's going on with me here in a minute. But I want to get into this financial, get into making money first. Okay, so with that being said, I made quite a bit of money. Get paid $10 an hour instead, because I prefer working for myself. I have been working for myself for the last 10 years, and it is, I work 60 hours a week doing what I'm doing right now. So each city has its own way of hustles. One of you guys asked that you wanted to know a little bit more about the street sheets. Well, street sheets, let me pull one out because I have one here. The lady gave me some, but because I don't have a badge, because she doesn't know how to use technology, instead of being able to go and do street sheets this week, okay, so let me bring it out here. Okay, so this right here is the Street Vibes, okay? It is a newspaper, as you see. It has the volume, the issue, and as you see right here where my finger is, it says $2. Now, I pay 75 cents for this, so I make $1.25 off of each one. If I sell 10 of these in a day, I make $12.50, okay? I probably won't sell more than 20 in a day, which is like $25 to make. I'm not really trying to make a lot of money. It is, there are other avenues that you have with this. Plus, as you go in here, so there's really not a lot of articles in here. In the one in Portland, there's plenty of articles, okay? But if you want to make extra money without having, at Street Sheets, there are ways to do it. First of all, you go to a monthly meeting. The monthly meeting, they give you 10 free papers just for attending the meeting, because they are they're compensating you for your time, because they understand that you only make so much. Okay, so not only are they compensating you for your time, but then, like, if I write a news article, which I've already got 3 that I'm waiting for her to give me my badge. Once I get my badge, because I've done everything else, so you got to go through an orientation, you got to take a test just to make sure that you understand what it is you're doing. You got to sign a vendor's agreement. This is, I mean, you are a 1099. Okay. Kristen, I will get to that one in just a second. I want to finish this topic though. So, with that, I only plan on making maybe $20 a day on it. Okay, but I'm not trying to make a lot of money, because I don't have rent, I don't have other bills. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a bunch of different pots going, and then they all mold into one, because I'm also working on my YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel is how I raise money. So when you guys put super chats, or when you guys leave a tip in my tip jar, or you go through one of my affiliate links, or you buy some of my gear, because I have a shopping cart now where if you want like a coffee mug or a shirt with the channel logo on it, you can get that. And I only make like $5 off of each item. So when you see those prices, understand I'm really not making much off of it. I could make more if I did it myself, but that requires production, and they take care of all of the middleman stuff that needs to be done, such as the shipping and the producing of the paper and stuff like that. So with that's one thing. So I have my YouTube channel. Plus, I'm also going on the digital side. Grunt labor is on the way out. It's always going to be on the way out until we reach a technological revolution to where we no longer need humans in the workforce, and we're just here to exist. Okay, and this is going to. I'm reading the comments as I'm talking, but just when it comes to the digital side, I am going on Fiverr now, because I'm in sales and I've done so much sales in my life. It is much easier for me, and the digital equivalent of sales is now becoming a digital marketer, essentially. So instead of going out and selling trinkets or selling financial items like I used to, or selling high-end items like I used to, what I end up doing is now I'm helping them sell their product, and instead of getting a commission, they're paying me a fee. Now, do I still have to use all of my sales techniques, all the psychology which I learned in all the years of sales? Yes. Okay, but now I have to use a digital media to be able to do it, and this is something that we as individuals are going to have to morph into, because you're going to have some sort of technical background. So doing YouTube thumbnails is going to be one thing that I want to do, but the other thing that I want to do is the digital marketing side. I've got a lot of sales experience. I owned my own business, and I've been self-employed for so many years. I understand I understand the customer more than the average person who's just going out and doing it because they're treating it like a job. So, and there's other things that I could be doing as well, other than just Fiverr and Upwork. But again, like I said, I'm going to be writing news articles so that I can make more money off the street papers, and then I'm going to be doing the street papers. Plus, I also donate plasma. But the thing is I had to take a week off of plasma. So right now, all I'm making money on is plasma, and once the street vibes go, the street vibes, and then I have to wait till next month to get paid from YouTube. Okay, but as far as all this other stuff goes, I had to give up plasma this week, so I will be going a week without plasma because they messed up my arms. They dug in, and it's still kind of tender here and tender here on this arm. And so I haven't made any money this week, and I was expecting this lady, because I went in on Monday to go do the street vibes, and I expected to be able to do it just like in Portland, where they would make your badge and do everything right there that day, and you would be just perfectly fine. Well, The lady, she doesn't understand technology because, it seems like anybody that's 50 and older just looks at technology and says, I don't have to learn it. Well, now her refusal to learn it is causing me pain, because instead of being able to have a few bucks in my pocket, I have to wait till Monday when the bank opens, because I'm also switching banks. I switched from Wells Fargo to Fifth Third, because there are no Wells Fargos in this area. There was none in Tennessee either. And since I'm going to be in this area for a little bit, I might as well get a local bank where I can go into a branch, because it's a pain in the ass when you can't get to your bank, even an ATM for your bank. Okay, so going back to Kristen, where do you go when it rains? Well, yes, you can go to the library. That's one place. You can also go, if you have money, you can go sit in a coffee shop. Okay, so one of the things I like to do is I like to use a lot of these different apps. So when I go to Burger King, I get points for Burger King, so I can get free stuff there every time I buy stuff. So now it gives me rewards. Panera has their Sip Club. It's like $12 a month, but you can go in there and get unlimited drinks. And they also send you daily offers like $2 off this, $5 off that, get this for this price, things like that. So now I can be able to eat and have, certain social comforts that I normally wouldn't have because of getting as part of these apps. Same thing with McDonald's, same thing with Wendy's. Let's see, I also used the Chili's app because there was a Chili's in Chattanooga, and I love Chili's. It's one of my favorite sit-down restaurants. You want a good New York steak, it's the flavor. It's thin as thin can be, but it was the most flavorful steak I ever had, because I've been to high-end restaurants and they were completely bland. Okay, so how long last and I look for a military surplus. No, you only want to wear them when you have wet boots on. Okay, that's good to know. So let me get into what's going on with me medically, because I told you guys part of the reason why I got off trail was because of I'm starting to have some health issues. So I went to the doctor, to the free health clinic, and I've also signed up for food stamps here in Ohio, because I was having trouble with it in Kentucky, because they want you to schedule the interview, but then they don't even use the scheduler to do the interview. So I'm like, whatever. Whereas here, they have a group of people, because I go down to the Daily Bread to eat my lunch, and you can go through the line as many times as you want. But yeah, I go to the Daily Bread, and they had some representatives there from the Department of Human Services, I think it's called. And so not only did they take my application, but they'll do my phone interview for me, and all I got to do is just go keep an eye on my mail. But they also signed me up for Medicaid, which apparently takes about 45 days to get. So I went to see the doctor, knowing full well that I was going to need referrals and get referrals to get some specialist doctors to take a look at me. So I went to the doctor, I think it was like Tuesday of last week, and I am in 45 days I've got to go for an MRI and an EEG, because they need to check my brain for brain damage. And what I was telling him, so I've been thinking I've been going through panic attacks all these years, and it turns out that I might actually be having seizures. And this is something that is new to me, because I expect, when somebody has a seizure, that they flop around on the ground and stuff like that. But apparently that's not the way it is. Okay, so it is what it is. But those people, they're taking care of me, and so I'm going to have to stay here for the winter, whether I want to or not, if I want to be able to get this taken care of, because there might be a way for me to be able to deal with it. Because what happens is, when I call it a panic attack until they tell me it's different, but when I have these, I have moments where I black out. Not that I where I pass out, but where I lose consciousness, and lots of things happen until I regain consciousness. And I also have the potential to hurt others when having one of those episodes. And so to be able to get more control over it, or at least learn how to manage it better, because as I was explaining to the doctor, I did great for 10 years. I was in, I was housed up. I had stability. I had my own business. I had all these things going. And now that I'm out here in this situation, it's more like an environment thing, because these people are volatile. I'm dealing with people that are unmedicated, that have severe mental health issues, everything from schizophrenia to bipolar to multiple personality disorder, to just anger issues, or just being twacked out of their mind for one reason or another. Okay, so when you got to deal with those people, it can be a little rough. Okay, so does anybody have any more questions for me as far as things that you would like to know? Because that's what I'm here for. But anyways, yeah, and we're getting close to the 45-minute mark. All right, so I've already mentioned a couple of times. I am going to, I gotta, because of the way all of this happened, nor'easters will be brutal this winter. Yes, if you listen to Ryan Hall, he says that this area in Pennsylvania may get the granddaddy storm. So this winter, walking around the trails and staying away from people. You know what? The people are much nicer in Florida, Ricky, than they are in like, let's say, Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee. So in Florida, because of how many people, it's probably the second or third most popular trail in the nation. So they get a lot of people there. The people are used to having hikers. So the people are much nicer. I don't know how many times I'm standing at a gas station charging my phone before I jump back in the woods. Somebody comes up to me, gives me $5, and says, "Have a beer on me." I didn't ask him for it. Wasn't even looking for it. They're just like, "Here, have a beer on me," because they take care of those in the hiker community. So do they work for a living? Who work for a living? So that's a good question, Nomad Terry. So, so Nomad Terry, huh? Nice to meet you, Nomad Terry. But anyways, guys, if you want to, oh yes, so I have been working on a website. So, that's smart. I mean, why pay for something that's just overpriced? I mean, I don't really think that housing should be that much to begin with. You should be able to have your money. If they really want us to be good consumers, then we have to have enough spending money, which means our rent has to be low. But everybody wants more money because they want more money, not because they actually need it, but because they want it. And so with that being said, yeah, you're going to send the price of rent going up. But there are some things that are on my mind that I want to be able to share with you that I may not necessarily do a video on, because I'm finding that with the issues that I'm having with my brain, with the brain damage and possible seizures, that there are just some things it's better for me to articulate using words, or writing it down, versus actually going out and talking in a video about it, because sometimes I stutter all over myself, or for the environment I'm in, I'm kind of have to be monotone and stuff like that. So there are some articles that I've written, and I will, hold on, let me, what is it called? Epoch. Okay. Hold on. Tux Epoch. Okay, there we go. Copy. Alright, so I'm gonna put this in chat for you guys. Alright. Paste. Okay, so that is my website. I'm doing it through Wix. I probably will end up buying a domain sooner or later, but I wanted to at least get a placeholder for it. And so if you go there, it is mobile friendly. I'm using a decent template. I've got, what is it, how many articles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, and I got like 2 of them that have not had a video made on them, so they're just plain old writing articles. Okay, But anyways, if you guys want to check that out and keep up with me there, I plan on, if you would also like to sign up for my mailing list, I believe that there's a button there. And so what I will do is when I put out an article is it will directly email it to you. And if I need to communicate with you guys outside of YouTube, because YouTube is going to be something that will eventually go away for me. I'm not looking at having YouTube as something long term. 2 grams of lemon haze. Well, this lemon haze, huh? Yeah, that will. You know what? It works, but it doesn't. All right. Hey, terrible. Okay, so me and YouTube. They own my content, whether I want them to or not. They are leveraging my content, and what I want to really do is eventually grow a big enough audience, a big enough following, to where a portion of you will make it over to my website, a portion of you will make it over to my Patreon, and those will be the two mediums where I really communicate with you guys moving forward long term. Because I think that I want to be able to own my stuff, because that means that I can censor myself. I don't need to be censored by someone else. If I want to talk about a certain topic and use certain words, I want to be able to do it without worrying about losing my full income stream. Now, I mean, I understand we've got cancel culture and all that stuff, but this is just I don't know. It's just the way that I plan on doing it. So anyways, guys, all right, we're hitting that 50-minute mark. If anybody has any questions, ask them now. Yeah, definitely. So again, do the email list, and then that way you can sign up for it on my website, which is just above there, tuxepoch.wixsite.com/ftuck. When I actually buy the domain and I put everything and I point it towards the domain, I will update you guys with that new domain. And about maybe a day or so before that actually happens, I will send out a mass email for those of you that are regular subscribers there, so that you can do it. It's free to sign up. There's nothing to pay for. It's just a way to be able to keep contact with you guys. Now, I will tell you that there will be some. I may talk about pieces of gear. If you guys have subscribed to the Redacted newsletter, I'm gonna kind of use their format as far as what it is. I must be shadow banned. I was at one point in time. I paid a price about 9 months ago, and that's when I decided. Plus, I've also had one channel deleted that had 3 other channels tied to it, and one of them was about to be monetized, and so it really kind of it put me on my toes and let me know what's really going on, and that I'm not immune to any of this. So in order to be able to protect this, which I'm creating, which essentially, I'm a nomad. I'm going to share with you guys how to be a nomad, give you tips and tricks, and kind of help you navigate the situation if you want to be a nomad. It's not that hard, but some people, they just want the reassurance. They want the extra knowledge and things like that. But if you are going to become a nomad and join the nomadic lifestyle, make sure you do research on the cities that you're going to. It's going to be more important now than it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I just threw a dart on a map and that's where I went. Or I said, okay, I want a coastal city, and so I got this city, this city, this city. Well, I'm going to San Francisco. You know what I mean? And luckily, I've found some places that were great and all, but you don't end up staying in a place for too long, because something ends up always happening to kind of burn it out. Whether it be it was an unpopular city when you first got there, or it was newly popular, and now everybody's moved to it. It's overcrowded. The culture's lost. Things are going downhill. Maybe you got the wrong politician in who does the defund the police or whatever. You have all kinds of dumb stuff that happens in the life of a city, and so when you get tired of it, you just find a new city, and you should be looking for the next city as soon as you get done with or as soon as you enter in the city that you're in. So for years, moved around my whole life. My parents were yeah, you know what, Ricky? Same with me. I I actually had to repeat kindergarten because we moved so much that I didn't get enough time in class to where they made me repeat kindergarten. It wasn't because I was stupid. Because that was something that's always I've always kind of felt ashamed of. But it wasn't because I was stupid. It's like we averaged like 4 schools that year. So I averaged about 1 school every 6 months until I was about 15 years old. And so then living with my old man being in the military, yeah. Yes, I do. And Snarfino, if you might be asking, how do I support my habit? It's real simple, okay? You can always get a pack of rolling papers. These right here, they cost $1, okay? Lots of people throw cigarettes on the ground, okay? TaylorMades. All you do is you sit there, you break them down, you put them in there, 3 or 4, maybe 5 butts, and now you've got your own cigarette. You're not smoking after somebody, you're not getting their germs, and you're recycling. You're using the tobacco to its sorry, my dad left here, so I was at school every day. Okay, that's good. But yeah, just you know, as long as you've got a pack of rolling papers, you will always be able to keep your smoking habit going in a city. Now, on trail, I will tell you, it is a little bit different because towards the end, in the shelters on the Pinhoti was when I was finding cigarettes, or when I would go into town about every 3 days, I would just get a bunch of long butts and roll those down, because a lot of people throw away 50% of the cigarette or more. It's like they take a couple drags and throw it down, and then they're crying broke. It's like, you got to stop this, people. But this is how if I want to smoke, this is how I support my smoking habit without going around and going, can you spare a cigarette, man? Hey, can I bum one of those from you? Because quite frankly, I've had so many people bum cigarettes from me that I'm to the point where I want to quit smoking just so I don't have to deal with it anymore. I mean, I'm so tired of being bombarded everywhere I go that when I go into certain areas of town, I don't even smoke because I don't want to be asked for a cigarette, because I don't really want to give them out. Now, one other piece of advice I'm going to give you guys in closing, as I close this out, is that only a fool gives away his last dollar. Okay? Only a fool gives away his last dollar. When you're out here, you are hustling to make ends meet for yourself. If one day you happen to have a little bit of extra and you want to share, then you share. If there are people out there that share with you, those are the people that you share with. Okay, it's very simple. It's straightforward. It's not rocket science. It's not very complicated. But when people share with you, you share with them. Okay, because the thing is you end up offsetting each other. But if you never give away your last dollar or never put yourself in a bind. So, I have a large pouch of tobacco. Oh wait, it's in my pocket. Okay. So this is my, if I run out of TaylorMades, I have this right here. Okay? That coupled with this, and I'm good. And this right here for like $8. It's like I can $8 to $10 a month. I can support my smoking habit, but I don't like pipe tobacco. It doesn't have as much nicotine in it. Okay, but I'm not going to give away my TaylorMades to somebody. If they want a cigarette, I'll let them roll one. I say, you got a paper? Because I got plenty of tobacco. Papers are harder to come by. Things like that. This is what you as an individual need to really be considerate of. Only a fool gives away his last dollar. Okay, if you've got a little bit and you can spare it, then spare it. But if you give your last to someone and then hope that they give to you, well, they may not give to you, and then when that happens, you're up shit creek, and they got what they wanted, and there's no consequence for them. And you're the one that gets stuck paying the consequence, and it's not right, it's not fair, it's not good, it's an improper decision. Okay, so you guys know how to help the channel. If you're not a subscriber, become a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, hit that bell notification. Let's see. Oh yes, if you wanna contribute to the channel, there are links down in the description, such as such as like my website, my affiliate links, my tip jar. You can even tip me Bitcoin if you want. Let's see. There's so many different ways you can help out the channel. This is one of the avenues in which I use to support myself, and eventually, I don't know if I ever want to get a place. I do, but I don't, and I think I will talk about that in a separate video on later this week. Okay, so Tuesdays and Thursdays are the days that which I put out videos. However, if I have the creative juices flowing and I can put more than 2 videos a week up, then I will put more than 2 videos a week up. Okay, so the 4 and 5 videos that I put up every week, or that I put up sometimes in a row, understand that Tuesdays and Thursdays are my upload days. Saturday is my live stream day, and then everything else on top of that is a bonus. Okay, so let's see. In a lot of cities, they have First Friday, they craft sales, make jewelry. I'm thinking, oh yes, especially on the West Coast, they have a lot of people that make their own jewelry and sell it. You know, just the cost of materials plus some. You know, just think about how long it takes you to make it, and think of a reasonable reasonable idea. So I'm having CashApp. Could be, yes, CashApp is definitely perfect. Panhandling of the future, when they get rid of the actual paper money, you will have to use an app like CashApp. You will have to use something like PayPal if you want people to send you money. They are putting it to the point to where they can monitor every transaction, because of so many people, and I'm one of them, that if I make money under the table, I ain't paying taxes on it. I mean, the money, I have my aversions for different reasons, and we'll talk about that one day. But for right now, you know, it just, if a person, you know, Ben Franklin said a person has the right to pay as little taxes as possible. And so if they can't monitor the transaction, then they don't know how much money they're losing. And with everything getting tight, they're going to, especially with the looming austerity that they got coming, it's just going to be crazy. So python hunting in Florida is a great way to camp for free, and it pays, I hear. Okay, see, there's another hustle right there. I never had to give editors plus pick up wire on the road. People like recycled stuff. Yes, they call it vintage. What the poor people used to eat, now the rich people eat. So I'm always thinking it's just weeks away from homeless always. You know what though? You could keep if you are resourceful and you know how to do things, like in Chattanooga. The reason why the donations are drying up, other than they're just not getting donations, is that you've got these out-of-towners and you've got these other people that are coming in buying these old clothes that used to be donated because nobody would buy them, and then they're taking them and they're reselling them online for almost brand new price, and they're going and they're getting the quality stuff. And, you know, this is something that you could do. Now, it's going to have cause and effect. It's going to hurt a group of people, the group of people that rely on those donations. However, if you want to make money, this is a way to make money, okay? So with that being said, guys, you guys know how to help. Like, subscribe, share, become a member of Patreon, become a YouTube member, become this, become that. Leave a tip in the tip jar. Leave a super chat, whatever it is that you feel like doing. And all these hearts that I keep saying, much love to you all. I will see you next week. And I'm going to probably start doing it at 10:30 just because I like the soundproof room, and I don't have to worry about, you know, how loud I get and how loud everybody else gets. But I will see you guys in the next week. It'll probably be 10:30, just like this week. And thanks for watching. Thank you for being my subscribers, and I truly appreciate every last one of you for showing up today. Don't forget to hit that like button.